Welcome to Coffee with Closers. In this series, we interview top real estate producers that are out there making big things happen in the real estate industry. That way you can learn from their failures and their big wins so you can start winning more in your real estate business. Welcome to the Coffee with Closers episode. We're going to talk to today. We have Emilio Dispirito with the Dispirito team and Dove Media. And we're going to dive into everything he's done over the past, how many years?
8 years now.
8 years in the business. And he started, I remember when he started out, he started from ground zero, and now you're doing how much in sales?
We're going to do $50 million this year.
$50 million in sales. He's built an awesome team. He has a great culture. Everybody seems to be in sync. And we're going to learn a lot from this guy today about building a real estate team and starting from the ground up.
I'm going to do my best, man.
We're
got a lot of expectations.
We're going to do it. So, what was life like before real estate for you?
Oh, it sucked, man. And I was literally just telling my parents this earlier today, right? Because I was sitting down. I was at a funeral earlier. And thanks, by the way, for having me on this.
Of course. I'm glad you came.
Thank you.
You have a ton of knowledge to share, so.
And I hope so.
You do. You do.
So I'm sitting down at this, they're after the funeral, you go eat. I forgot whatever.
Yeah.
So we're sitting down and we hear people talking. They're like, oh, hey, my boss this, my boss that. I have to do this for my boss. And I'm like, oh. I told my parents, I said, listen, I will never have another boss. I wake up unemployed every single morning just because I know I can rely on me more than anyone else. So before real estate, I got fired from every single job I ever had.
That's like the common theme though, isn't it?
I'm unemployable, dude.
Yes.
And I said it at one of Sam Alba's Now Rep events. I said, look, I'm unemployable in the ground lab. I am so, dude, life before real estate sucked.
It did. So it was retail, a lot of ups and downs, getting fired, things not working out.
Blue collar jobs.
Yes.
Like, dude, I always seen the salespeople come in, and I was like working for my uncle's moving company. He has a highly successful moving and office installation company.
It's a lot of back work.
And I was laying down one day under a conference room table, and I was drilling up, and I drilled a freaking screw through a $10,000 conference room table, and it like pierced it. And I mean, dude, it's like common sense not to do that, right? And I was just like, wow, I've got no mechanical skills, got in a lot of trouble for that, and got fired from my own family's company. So needless to say,
that's a crazy story.
I got a lot of those, but needless to say, I needed to start my own thing. Real estate is where it's at, and I think a lot of us get in that for it.
It's true, and it's the perfect opportunity for it too, because the startup costs are so low. It's not a huge barrier to entry, but yet there's such opportunity because the commissions and what you can actually build, like what you did yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So what age did you actually start?
27 years old.
27?
Yeah.
That's young.
Yeah.
I mean, relative to what the average agent is, what, 50, 55?
52, 53,
yeah.
something like that. Maybe 55.
Yeah,
I don't know.
It's amazing. So you got started really young, and you still have a huge leg of, real estate to go in your career.
Oh, God, yeah. It's like one of those memes where they show you, like, when I started a year later, the agent looks like 10 years older. Oh,
it is stressful. It is stressful.
Highly stressful job.
Yeah. So I know you had some ups and downs with the past jobs. Manual labor wasn't for you. But like, what else made you get into real estate?
I'm really good at talking, and it's like, I'm really good at. Forget about talking, because I'm really good at finding solutions to people's problems.
Yes.
So when you can find a solution to somebody's problem, and it's such a problem, it's not only their real estate, it's like, their location for like work location, like how far they need to drive for work. Like maybe they're going through a divorce, maybe they're going through, they're losing their home to foreclosure, but they could sell it before that. So there's a million different problems you can help people with, and it's life problems.
Yes.
It's emotional problems. It's really nonstop. We're on the clock 7 days a week, 24 hours a day.
All the time. And you get paid in direct proportion to the problems you solve every day, right?
Thank you, 100%. I couldn't have said that better myself, and it's true. And the people that solve the best problems, the biggest problems, get paid the most.
That is so true. That is phenomenal. That makes a huge point. So when you first got started, it's rough for a lot of people.
It sucks.
It's the worst. It's the worst. Everybody's got to go through it. It's like getting punched in the mouth every single day.
I like that.
What big things, like what were your biggest struggles when you first started? And what was your first year like?
My car was my biggest struggle, so that thing was a POS, bro.
What kind of car was it?
Well, it was a Mazda 6, and it was nice when I got it, but like how I am with manual labor, I just destroy things, right? And so give me a nice car, I'll destroy it.
Yeah.
I always worked hard. I always worked 2-3 jobs. So I got this car, and it was decent, and normal everyday car, Mazda 6. And I don't know what I hit. I hit something, and the bumper fell off, and the muffler fell off, and like this thing was just it was not good. So anyway, I zip tied the bumper, and it was like hanging and swinging when I was driving. Muffler, it sounded like, I remember driving through East Greenwich, and like all you heard was like, like off of the buildings echoing, and people were like, look at this white trash coming through. And East Greenwich is like one of the wealthiest towns in Rhode Island.
It is.
And me, like, whatever. So I used to hide my car and go knock on doors, right? And I got one of like, I got a $500,000+ listing, one of my first listings, and I went and knocked on expireds, right?
That is awesome.
And I went and knocked, and they didn't even recognize I had no car with me. They had this long driveway, and I remember I sold that thing very quickly. They had 3 agents before me. I sold it in 32 days on an average of 120, 130-day market back in the day, right? I sold it 32 days, got them almost full list price back then, and on closing day, I pull up in my beater, like,
nice.
Right? When she's coming out of the car, the house, and she looks at me and she's like, "That's your car?"
Oh my God.
And I was like, "Yeah, it is," and she just gave me that face, like, I would have never listed with you if I would have. And it's nothing. It's human nature, bro.
It is.
It's just you judge people on appearance, on all of that. But I've always dressed nice in a suit. And it goes a long way. So my biggest struggle was not me, and a lot of people, their biggest struggle is them. If their biggest struggle is them, get out of real estate, because you're always, or learn how to not struggle through it.
Yes.
Pick yourself up, right? And that's okay. But my biggest struggle was my car at the time, and living 6 months without a paycheck.
That is a very hard part of it.
Ramen
noodles?
Ramen noodles daily, guy.
So
Eggs.
that's 2 good points. So the first thing is, a lot of agents, they think the vehicle they have is going to be a challenge, and just park it down the road like you did, and you still sold a $500,000 listing in 32 days.
Yeah.
After multiple agents failed.
Mhm.
So it can be done. Don't use the car as an excuse not to get into it. You can definitely do it. Exactly. And then the money part. So you recommend about 6 months of savings before you jump into it, or you just think just dive in
Just
and
jump in.
make it happen.
Just jump in, because you know what? When you're hungry, you're going to perform better. Right?
Yes.
Yeah, I was
True.
hungry. I mean, I was really hungry. I was just eating eggs and ramen. And
That's an amazing story.
yeah, it's like, but a lot of people go through that, and it's like and I haven't done anything crazier than anybody else who's succeeded. And it's like, you listen to everybody. Everybody's like, I'm gonna get into this. I'm gonna get rich quick type of bullshit. Like, no, if you have that mindset, you've already failed, because it takes time. You need to work your tail off. And I went into real estate looking around from a business to business job. I used to sell toilet paper and urinal cakes door to door. I swear, dude.
No way.
I did. We sold other stuff, but it's funnier when I say it like
It's
that.
too
right?
funny, yeah.
Ice melt, cleaning products, all this stuff. And I did really good with it, right? I did really, really good. And anyways, coming from a business to business background, Chris, I saw how things were kind of handled in the real estate industry, and it's not hard to become in the top 10%. It's really, really not, right? Like, and I knew if I worked just a little bit harder than everybody else, and if I learned stuff, and if I was a bit knowledgeable, then I would do well. And that's it. Just grit. Hard work and determination.
Grit, determination, dedication.
I outworked all my competitors.
Oh, for sure. So talk about that a little bit. Your first year, what kind of production did you do, and how much work did you actually put in? Because I hear a lot of agents, they'll contact me on the channel, and they'll say, hey, can I do this part-time? Can I do this 15 hours a week? Well, what's your answer to that? And like, what was your actual production versus the hours you put in?
Yeah.
First year.
I mean, I think if you're doing anything part-time, just you're a part-time whatever. Like, if you're a part-time realtor, you're a part-time realtor. No one's going to take you serious. I'm not. And I'm sorry. Actually, I'm really not sorry. But and you may think like, wow, this guy is a jerk. No, like, in this country, we've gotten away from this is how it is to, oh, this is what I want to hear, fluffies. I want to hear fluffy things.
Yes.
I don't want to tell you fluffy things, and that's why my clients hire me, because they're like, Emilio, everyone else fluffs, you tell it how it is, and we need that. Okay, so a part-time agent, I would never hire, I would never trust, because guess what happens when that part-time agent is cashing someone out at Walmart? someone's calling on their listing.
Exactly.
And they can't service their client. So it's a disservice to the consumer, and I'm for the consumer. So if you're bringing down our profession, and you're bringing down a very highly skilled profession in an industry with your reputation, I don't want you here. Okay?
I agree.
Right?
I agree. And it's challenging enough as it is. You know, I don't know what you did production-wise your first year, but a lot of agents, you know, they don't
Not
make
much.
that much their first year, and they're doing full-time, they're grinding, and these are people that are dedicated. So doing it
God bless
part-time,
them.
how do you get it off the ground?
You're not. I mean, you're always going to be that part-time agent, and you know there might be an exception to the rule out there, laughing, going, "You're a dummy, Emilio," and maybe I am. Okay, because you know they say the best real estate agents, the best salespeople, were C students in school because we're so dumb. We keep going back after people say no and slapping us in the face, right?
Yeah.
So a little funny joke, but legit, like Chris. You know, again, there might be an exception to the rule. If there is, you know, they've got the secret, whatever. But for the most part, you know, not. So I sold one house in my first 6 months. Yeah, it took me 6 months to get a paycheck.
Someone else. And that was a big listing in East Greenwich.
No. That was North Kingstown. Was one of my first listings. That was a buyer.
Okay.
And that actually, I got a very funny story with that real quick. My car actually was, I don't remember if it was unregistered at that point or broken down, but I told my client, like, it's in the shop. Can I meet you at this place? So I had my girlfriend at the time drop me off, and I drove him around in his car.
Oh my God.
And yeah,
That's amazing.
yeah, great.
That's
time.
creative. That is creative. That is awesome.
Yeah, fake it till you make it. You
Exactly. And that's the thing too. So what would you recommend to someone brand new getting into this industry? What's the best piece of advice that you can give them to have success?
Yeah, all right, you gotta want it. Like you really gotta want it. So in order to have success, you gotta take the time to learn. Take the time to look at. We didn't have all this YouTube stuff, and even 8 years ago, there wasn't all this stuff, all this info out there. Now there's an abundance of info, and I saw your interview with Albert Hadarash, and
Yes.
and you know, and that dude inspires me. You do too. You guys are great, and like all this content, but not only with like you guys. You can look up Tom Ferry content. You can look up Byron Lazine, awesome guy. Tom Toole, like all these awesome.
It's awesome.
People that are crushing it out there, and you can see what they're doing. They're telling you, and so learn from the top pros, because they're giving all this information away. I know, Chris, I want to see realtors, the up and comers, I want to see them successful. I want to see them crush it out there. And when you hear me talking shit about like part-time agents, it's because they I hate to say it, they don't give our industry a good name. So why would I be like, okay, let's bring it on?
Exactly.
Brokers are going to say, come on, let's bring it on, because they want to collect your monthly fee. I don't care, whatever. They can be the nicest person in the world, but they want to get your monthly fee. And that's it.
They do.
That's the old school mentality of real estate. The new school mentality of real estate is, look, let's get the best able people to come on, and that's my team, right? We're the Spartans. We're a group of 6 agents that outperform teams of 16, 17, 20 people.
That's true. It's amazing. That
Right?
is actually amazing.
Because
You
we
know what
got
I
the
mean?
right freaking people, and that's it. You got to have the right people.
All producers.
All producers.
Yes.
They
And
have
you don't
to.
want to have dead weight, because I've seen many times you just chop people. Things aren't working out. If you're not in alignment with the way you want to grow your team, you have to let people go
Yeah.
sometimes, and that's
Quickly.
part of it. Quickly, you get to hire slow, right, and then
Yeah.
you fire fast.
It's worse. I forget who said this, Chris, but it's worse to have the wrong person on your team for them. It's not fair to them.
True.
Because they don't belong. You're holding them back from maybe doing something that they would enjoy more. Because if you're not enjoying working with them, they're not enjoying working with you.
Yes.
And it's just not fair. I've got another very funny story I want to tell the newbies, people coming
Yes.
in. Because, dude, when you're starting real estate, it is literally one of the toughest things in the world. Okay, so 6 months in, got my first sale. Then all of a sudden, because I hustled, just knocking on doors, writing blogs, all this stuff started happening, right? And you see it start happening. So when all of that started happening, I was selling, and I was like number 2, 3 in the office out of like 30 agents in my
Nice.
first office, small brokerage out in East Greenwich. And I remember there was 4 offices in the back, and I have ADD. Like when I go to work, I want to freaking work. I don't want to
Yes.
talk to people out in the pit. The sales pit is where all the agents go. And back then, they would all go in the office and use the cord phones even 8 years ago, right?
Yeah.
So I was there in the pit all the time. These guys was talking about his bowel movements and stuff.
Oh,
I'm like,
man.
dude, I'm here to sell real estate. Leave me alone.
Yes.
Right? And I got my biggest hater over here, like, and the guy hated on me, right? So he's all talking legit shit, right? Just talk. I'm sorry about that, and he's talking about other stuff all the time. And I picked my stuff up and I went into one of the vacant offices that no one was in. So I did all that. I even put Emilio Dispirito like on the door because that's who I am. Whatever. I took it over. I owned it, right? And I wasn't like paying rent or either of that. Just no one was using it. There was a desk in there, and I was killing it. So I remember a couple days later, I get a knock. It's the broker. I'm like, come in, right? He's like, Emilio. Yeah. He's like, I can't have you set up here. And I was like, oh, why is that? He said, because you're not a top producer. And I said, oh, wow, well, I'm one of your top guys in the office, and I just started. Imagine what I'll be like. I said, let me ask you something. What is the top producer? He's like, when we're doing serious business a year, like 3 or 4 million a year. I left there, and I went down the road to someone who I highly respect and whatnot. And now what this dude lost is a team that does that in 3 weeks.
It's amazing.
Right?
Yeah.
So he lost that because he couldn't see the vision. Can't have this here, you can't do this and that. So when you are new, don't listen to your family and your friends tell you you can't do it because they can't do it. They're telling you you can't do it because they have that inward reality, and it's very, very difficult, but you can do it. Absolutely.
That is true. That's a good point. And so at that point you were transitioning to start a team. So what actually made you want to start a team versus just sticking to being solo, grinding it out? You see a lot of agents, they sell 40, 50 homes a year, but they're by themselves. What made you want to branch out and start a team?
Those are some of the most amazing agents, and there's several, like they do it on their own, right? And like legit, but they run themselves ragged.
They do.
And you can tell like they don't really enjoy it as much anymore, right? And what made me do it is the fact I saw stuff slipping through the cracks. I had 8 transactions at one point in time, all at the same time, and I was like, oh man, 8 transactions, everything. I had clients call me screaming at me saying, what's up with this? What's up with that? Whatever. And I was like, look, I'm never going to let these people down. I don't want to let my people down. It's a referral business. And dude, if I own a business, my name's on it, like they're getting 110%. They're getting 150%.
Yes.
Like they're getting everything. My name is on it. I know how hard my family has all worked. They all own their own businesses. I'm all in, bro. That's why it's Dispirito team and not like, like another name. And no, you got the Alpine Group, no offense, but like
okay,
I named it after my name because my name means something to me.
I like that.
My family came over here from Italy, from Canada, and from wherever else, because I'm a mutt. We all came from, and they all worked harder than anybody I know, and they all started their businesses, and most of them Dispirito's this, Dispirito's that. So it means a lot. Yep. So ultimately the consumer experience, and I saw where the market was going, and I saw there was a couple teams already, and I didn't come at it from the perspective like, oh, I'm going to hire all these people and make all this money. Actually, I ran the team for I think 6 years, and I finally made a profit 2 years ago.
No way.
Mm-hmm.
That's a long game. That's a long game.
It's doing it right.
It is.
I invested in myself over and over and over and over. Right, I invested everything, every last dollar I had for so many years, and now guess what? It's inbound. It's all inbound. My phone's ringing, right?
That's awesome.
So my phone rang this weekend alone. I had 8 new people. One of them was a $2 million buyer. They just call us now. So I don't want to be doing as much cold calling, and I don't have to be because we have the referrals, and then we have all the inbound marketing working to come in.
That's excellent. That is phenomenal.
And it all started by not so much focus on the marketing first, but focusing on the systems and building it out.
Right? And the client experience.
And the client experience, that's it, man. And when you do something right, and I can't tell you how often, and people are like, that's not a get-rich-easy thing. If you're saying that's not a get-rich-easy thing, then either fix your mindset or try something else.
It's true.
You're not going to get rich quick in real estate.
It's a grind.
It's a grind.
It is
you
a
may
grind.
do it in 2 or 3 or 4 years. You may hit 6 figures
Yes.
or whatever. But is it sustainable? And is your lifestyle sustainable? You know, are you sleeping at night or whatever? You know, like. You don't want to run yourself ragged. So with a team, I mean, we all take vacations, we take days off. I take 2 days off a week now.
That's
I
excellent.
take Saturday and Sundays off. The busiest days for realtors, I take off. I have no problems. My team covers everything. My clients are 100% taken care of.
That is
fantastic.
huge. So here's what I want to dive into next.
Mm-hmm.
So there's pros and there's cons of starting a team. In my personal opinion, I think there's more pros than cons.
Mm-hmm.
But let's dive into some of the cons first of starting a team. Like, just if someone's out there, maybe they're doing 20 deals a year, maybe they're doing 25, like, hey, I want to start a team. I like this idea of building something that can kind of run without me, but obviously you're going to be involved. But you can have some leverage and you don't have to be showing every single house. You don't have to be making every single call. What would be some of the cons of starting a team, some of the challenges?
Yeah, it's a good question. I've actually never had anybody ask me that question. It all depends because everybody has different thoughts and reasons on why they start a team, but more importantly, is a team right for them? Are they team players? Did they play sports as a kid?
Good question.
Everyone on my team has played somewhat of sports or has been involved in somewhat of sports.
Okay.
When they were young or now. And it's the key to hiring the right agents, right?
Huh.
What type, and if it's not sports, what other type of team atmosphere did they play? Were they an altar boy growing up even?
Yes.
Like that, like I was, right? Like, so like I was
awesome. I
an
know
altar
that.
boy, like, right? So,
Yeah.
so like I was used to working and volunteering and whatever and doing that. And I also played soccer as a kid for a long time. But everyone on my team has some sort of volunteer experience or team experience.
Okay.
So we work well together. Okay,
That's huge.
so the biggest con about starting a team is if you're not a team player, you might not be a great team leader.
Yes.
And I gotta tell you, this is what I noticed the most with teams that fail. It's all about the team leader. And people may say, well, Emilio, you have a show. Well, who else is gonna do it?
Right.
Like, I mean, like anybody on my team, they're all capable of doing it.
Yes.
And they would look better than me doing it, okay? I know that. And they would sound better than me doing it. But what I'm saying is I can't expect anyone else to go to the mic every single Tuesday with fresh content and do this, because they don't want to do that, bro. They want to sell real estate. They want to get up and they want to have their day planned and they want to go and they want to hustle and they want to sell.
Yes.
I want to do the marketing. I want to grow a company. That's what I want to do. So what do you want to do? Do you want to grow a company or you want to sell real estate? Do you want to be a technician or do you want to be a business owner?
Yes.
And if
I
you're
like
a
that.
team leader with an actual vision, you need to understand you're running a business and you're growing a business and you're feeding people. And if you don't have that mindset, like shit, what I do or what I don't do is going to either feed or not feed people, then I don't know that you have the leadership mindset right now, you know.
Yes.
And you could grow into it. Like, you know, I didn't always think the way I do. Dude, I failed more than anyone I know with real estate, and I'm still failing today. Every day I fail. I like it, and you know, like 50 Cent always said, like I was just listening to his podcast. He just basically said like in the hood, it's bad to get L's. You know what I mean? Losses. But he likes losses because you can't figure out how to win without losing. You know.
That's a good point. You learn more from your failures than you do from
Yeah.
your wins. That's a big thing.
The most successful people have a lot of failures, more failures than not. So I'm okay with the failures. Be okay with the failures.
That's huge. That's huge. Okay, so that's some of the cons of starting a team is maybe, you know, you might not be in the mindset to lead people, and you might not be in the mindset to be a team player. Maybe you want to do everything yourself and make it all about you,
Mhm.
but with a team it's reversed. You got to
Money.
make it all about them.
You may not have the money to buy all the systems. You're not going to have the systems. There's more cons than positives. There's more cons than pros. And you're very optimistic and super smart and analytical. So you had all that stuff figured out before I did. I didn't have any of that stuff figured out at all. Okay, it took me a long time, and it took me hiring the right people and getting the right people on the team. And Joe Fazio is one of the key components. And look,
Yes.
I wouldn't be where I am today with my team without the players I have on my team. So a bit luck, you could say. It could be a bit of the universe pulling in all the energy I put out. I don't know, attracting the right people to me. It could be any of that. But having the right people on your side is one of the hardest things to do, and you need to figure out how to do that.
So those are some of the cons of having a real estate team. So now let's talk about some of the pros. What are the major benefits you've seen having a team?
Oh, man, so right now at this point, the pros far outweigh the cons. So it's later on, once your team is rolling, and that's like any business, right? Like when you start a business, there's more cons than pros. That's it. You wear a lot of hats. You're a team leader. How many hats do you wear? 15, 20?
A ton,
right?
And it's a lot to balance and juggle and make it all work. That's the big challenge.
And business owners and even agents that are alone wear a lot of hats, right?
Yes.
So, and that was the theory, is like, if I'm wearing all these hats anyways, I might as well be a team leader. I might as well run a team, right?
Yes.
So the pros, dude, oh my God. First off, the better consumer experience. I've got somebody in office that does all the paperwork. I've got somebody that does all the scheduling for our agents and our clients, okay? We have a whole client concierge system. Our clients don't go back and forth with a realtor that's on the road. First off, it takes way too much time out of that realtor's day, okay? It's a huge service for realtors. They love it. And second off, if they're calling about this house, we don't know all the houses on the MLS, so why not have somebody in office that handles all of that? So we have Casey, our client concierge, and she handles absolutely all of the questions, just immediate questions, things that are online, things that can be easily answered, and all of the scheduling. She has all the realtor schedules right in front.
Wow.
Another thing too is our clients get 2 agents, right? So if one agent can't make a showing within a reasonable time period, we can always put in a substitute. Okay, so
Nice.
it's a way better, more instant type of client experience, right? And the other thing is we have a full-time media company, right? Our media company and our marketing team and all that, they pump out a ton of information. We're educating our clients, right?
That's huge.
You can't have all of that working at once for you when you're alone. Another thing is I'm down to working about 60 hours a week. I was working 100 hours a week up until 2 years ago. Okay, I'm down to 60 hours. I just took 3 weeks off not too long ago to spend time with my kids, and the team ran amazing. It ran absolutely fantastic.
That's awesome.
Without me, business is up, even during COVID. I went away during COVID, and business is up, dude. Okay, so our systems are working fantastic. Our team is working great, and there's way more pros to that. I mean, imagine taking three weeks off. Could you imagine that?
Phenomenal.
Most agents can't imagine that, and I never could imagine that until quite recently.
That's a huge pro. I think that's a game-changing pro. I know there's a lot of
either.
Yeah, that's
The whole team has that.
huge. Yeah, that's huge. So you have a lot of specialists that specialize in certain activities, and it kind of frees up. So instead of wearing 20 hats, you have people on your team wearing maybe 4 hats, or 2 hats, or 3 hats, whatever that is.
It's consistency too in everything we do. It's always a consistent thing. And I explain my business like going to the Capitol Grill. If you've ever been to the Capitol Grill, and if you're not from Rhode Island or Boston or any other areas where the Capitol Grill is, it's a 5-star restaurant. You walk in, someone opens the door for you, they smile, they welcome you, and they pull your chair out, they throw a cloth over your lap, they make sure to push the lady's chair in, you know what I mean? They come, they serve you from the left all the time, everything is just so, they have you cut into your steak, make sure it's cooked absolutely perfect. Well, every single person that comes over is a different equation of that team and the system. And the consistency is always there. No matter where you go, which Capitol Grill you go to, you're gonna have the same 5-star experience with the same perfectly cooked steak, okay?
Yes.
And my team delivers the exact same thing, just in real estate.
I love it. That's
Thank you.
phenomenal.
Thank
That
you.
is phenomenal. So that sounds wonderful. That's great. But building that up, I know myself because I'm in the process of building that up now. That's a challenge. There's a lot of moving pieces there. And what has been your biggest challenge to build something like that? Because that's phenomenal. There's a very small percentage of people in real estate that have been able to build that kind of business that kind of just runs in synchrony with everybody that's on that team. A lot of teams are running a brokerage style team where they're just taking agents on, they're training them, but they're doing all the things themselves. And you have a lot of agents doing things like that, which is a lot easier, in my opinion, to build. You guys seem to be really in sync, and you have specialists doing every single thing so it flows. What has been your biggest challenge getting there? Because that's a big feat.
The biggest challenge has been myself. When I first started, we lacked a ton of systems and whatnot, right? But I'm really, really good at connecting with people. I'm a visionary. I'm a rainmaker. I've got all those qualities of a team leader, okay? And I knew enough, like, wow, I do need somebody that can come in and help, build out systems and help systemize things and get me organized, okay?
Okay.
So that was my biggest challenge, was me, okay? And that person, and I mentioned him before, Joe Fazio. Another key element, key person to my team that's been there since the beginning has been Jackie, formerly Jackie Gervais,
Yes.
Jackie Crum. She is a powerhouse agent, okay? But she's also somebody that just tells me how it is. Like, she's like, no, Amelia, I don't know about that, or this or that, or like, so Joe and her constantly question things. They constantly make me a better person, and allows me to get some real-time feedback. So I've had them, never mind all of the other wonderful people on the team. I can't name them all here for time reasons, but Chris, man, like, I'm so lucky to have these people behind me. So the biggest challenge, man, is basically going to be yourself, and knowing your limitations and knowing your handicaps. And I've got plenty of them, okay? And getting the right team players in, like a puzzle piece, to complement what you're not good at, and only focus what you are good at. Spend your time, your energy, not trying to become better at an area that maybe you don't enjoy.
Yes.
Focus only on what you enjoy. I only focus on what I enjoy.
Okay, that's actually good advice.
Mhm.
That's good advice. So you have a team leader. I want 3 good pieces of information. You have a team leader that's out there. He has a couple agents, and he wants to get to the next level, like what you built.
Yeah.
What 3 tips would you give? 3 quick tips.
All right, so damn, it's hard because everybody has different levels, right? Like, my level is, I don't necessarily want to or need to be number 1, right? For transactions. Like, I would rather be number 1 for client and agent retention. Okay. And so, I mean, my next level is like, okay, great. So now we're going to grow into another market. We want to take over Massachusetts now.
Nice.
We want to get into maybe Connecticut, right? That's my next level. So I don't know what their next level looks like, but if you want to increase your sales, I mean, that's what we do. We increase sales. I would say stay in the trenches for now. Okay, number 1, stay in the trenches. Lead by example. You need to be out there crushing, bringing in the listings. Bring in the listings, because you list to last in this business. Age-old saying, right?
Yes.
So with me, what I did was I brought all the listings in, and then I had servicing agents. Okay, now the servicing agents, it's a consistent pay for them. So if you have a new agent that's coming on that's not making any money until they make sales, now they're making money off of your stuff, but they're showing your properties for you, handling the oil meter readings, handling the water meter readings, all of those things that take you away from the time of crushing new business, okay? Because you are prospecting, you're a killer, right? Like, you're a team leader, you're a killer. You need to go out there and you need to hunt and you need to kill, right? So that's what I do, and in the process, they are seeing me hunt and kill, and they're learning the systems of the process, and they're learning the whole overall transaction. So you're losing any sense of pretty much entitlement, because they see the whole transaction and they don't just jump in and just get leads.
Yes.
They're working up towards it, and they have a solid base. So I would say that's the biggest, best thing you could do as a team leader, instead of just give buyer leads.
Yes.
Give buyer leads too, but let them be the servicing agent. Oh, and by the way, when they're the servicing agent on my team, they usually get most all of the buyer leads that come in on that property. When they hold an open house, they get all of those leads, whether they're buyers or sellers. I wasn't there at the open house. I'm not going to take those from you.
Yeah.
I need to give you incentive to go there and do a hell of a job. Okay? I want you to follow up with those people. You want to follow up with those people. Let's grow your career. So number 2, be more focused on them. Give more than you expect to get. Okay? Be more focused on your team players' growth than your own. Okay? Give more than you expect to get, really. And in number 3, I would have to say, would be, expect to be on 24/7, okay? Expect to be on 24/7 until you have systems in place where you can remove yourself from that.
Yes.
So, I mean, I could give you 5 others, but, that's what I got right now.
No, that's good. I love it. That's really good information, especially the showing agent thing. That's a big piece that a lot of teams don't have. So that's very good. So my question is next. I know you mentioned retention. So before we get into retention, how do you attract agents to your team? How do you actually find talent that wants to join your team and be a part of what you build?
Mm-hmm. They see it and they comment on it. And they call me and they say, hey, like, I noticed, wow, your team was really, really great to work with, right? Or like Mike Tellier, my favorite story ever. So Mike Tellier, called in on one of our properties. He was a lead, right?
Right.
Yeah. Great guy, right? He's one of our agents. He's a star agent. So he called in on one of the properties. I was like, yeah, man, we have open this time and this time. He was really skeptical about realtors, right? He had a bad experience in the past. So he comes into the open house, bro, and he's wearing like a suit, nice blue suit. I remember him this day. I'm like, wow, the guy's got great posture. Like, wow. I'm like, who's this realtor? So I thought he was a realtor. I'm like, yo, what's up, man? How you doing? Who are you with? What company are you with? And he's like, oh, no, I'm here for the open house. I'm like, you're not a realtor? He's like, no. I'm like, you look like a realtor. I thought you were a realtor. I was like, maybe you should be a realtor because you got that whole persona, bro. So whatever. So we ended up clicking, and I helped him and his family buy his house.
Nice.
And he loved the experience so much. He's like, you know, Emilio, I never thought I'd do this. Like, I loved real estate so much. I loved working with you and your team so much. I want to start in real estate. And I was like, all right, well, here's what to do. And so many people say they want to do real estate. So I took him half serious.
Yeah.
I didn't know him so well then. I mean, I was like, you know what, this guy is a very loyal guy, I can tell. I feel like he's gonna do this, but I've had other people like, you know, bail out. Dude, he did it quick, and now all of a sudden he's one of our star agents 2 years later, right? Last year his business increased 1,300%.
Wow.
1,300%. Super proud of Mike Tellier. Huge success story. So that stuff will come to you when you're doing the right thing. And you won't have to go out and you should recruit. Like we should recruit. We don't like to do it because I like to run a smaller team. But but yeah, man, I think a lot of it when you're doing all those right things, it's just gonna come to you.
That makes sense. And when you're established, it definitely does. When you were brand new, when you were first getting this thing off the ground, did you ever recruit, or was it just more organic?
Most of it was organic, and it was like, you know, like Jackie was working at OPA, and she was like our first, like, you know, really, we had another agent that was part-time admin, and again, part-time stuff don't work in real estate, so it never worked. It fell apart. So Jackie was bartending, and she was working over at Keller Williams, and and she started there, and I was like, you know, what's going on? What are you doing? You know, I got this team that I started. Sales are doing really good. Blah blah blah. And whatever, and we've known each other forever, so she was like, oh, yeah, I'll jump on the team with you. So she came over, and Jackie is going to do about 9 to 10 million this year.
That is phenomenal.
Herself.
That's huge.
9 to 10 million.
That's huge.
Yeah.
Those are big numbers.
No,
and Jackie is awesome. I mean, Jackie's a phenomenal agent.
Yeah, you can look her up, DespiritoTeam.com, and you can look up all of our agents, and if you're another team leader in the Rhode Island market, you can try to recruit them. Go ahead. They're very happy here.
That's the best.
You can find the agents on our team super easy because they have an identity.
That's awesome. I love that. That's great. That is phenomenal.
And if you give them a better opportunity, then God bless them, and it's all good.
That's good. That is good. So how did you build that culture? Like when you put this team together, you built a phenomenal culture of people that seem to be in sync. How did you go about building that? Did you just come up with core values that these people had to align with, or what was your process for that?
It wasn't always there. So back in, I think it was like 2016 in January, we had like a mutiny against Emilio, right? Like we had 8 agents, right? So we had 8 agents, and 3 of them, well, maybe, no, 2 of them. There was one cancer in the group, right? And I hate to say this, right? But there was one person in the group who felt they could do everything better than what we already had. And whatever, that's okay. That personality is more of a leadership role. It doesn't mean that they belong being a leader, but it's more of like a high D type of personality, very decisive, very direct. I respect those people. I respect this person. Okay, it's all good. But this person was just weighing on all of our team resources, not following the systems, not following this, not following that. Was you know, a successful agent, still does pretty good, not as good as they were doing when they were on the team, because you know, because they have no systems, they're super unorganized, they're a mess, right? So, but anyways, they felt they could do things so much better, so they got in the ear of the other agents, and now all of a sudden, when you have this happening, when you have the one wrong person on your team or in your business, it's a cancer, and all of a sudden it infiltrates and just gets into people's heads, and the wrong information gets there. So, you know, we had people that stood by us, and then there was people like, oh, Emilio, like this, that, whatever else, all complaining, and you know what? We just parted ways. And our team went from 8 to 4, and the following year, because this was in January, that year, we did the same amount of business with 4 agents that we did with 8 agents.
No way.
And our business just started blowing up, bro. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Wow.
We did 27 million that year, did 27 million the following year. And then we did 40 million the next year with 4 agents.
That is amazing. So it was almost a good thing.
It was the best thing ever. And I learned so much as a team leader at that point in time. And I've got people on the side of me, with me, on my team, that I think are absolutely like just the best, dude, top notch. And that's what we look for. We put people through a 4-round interview process.
That is awesome.
We don't just hire anybody with a pulse.
That's huge.
We're not, and you know what, right now we have 6 agents. I'm content with 6. The next agent we hire better be a damn superstar. Better be knocking out, you know, at least 3 to 4 or 5 million a year.
Oh, all day.
That's what we want.
That's huge. So what I'm hearing is, it sounds like it's more important to find the right people
Yeah.
that are in line with what you're doing rather than just numbers.
Yeah, correct. I mean, and granted, like when somebody has that much success, they're going to appreciate our team, right? And we used to take on new agents, and we're not totally against it. And we've got a newer agent on our team who's a perfect fit. She's awesome, Kara. She's fantastic, and she's doing really great. But we like those agents that are just like so like, oh, like, you know, they're like, wow, I'm doing so much business. I don't even know how to handle it all. They would thrive on our team. They would thrive on your team. Like they would thrive in a team setting that has systems in place and that allows them just to focus on what they want to focus on. Why are they spending time scheduling, calling 5 or 6 or 10 brokers and 8 part-time realtors that never answer their phone and staying on? Let the person in the office do it. Why are they typing up listing agreements and doing all this stuff? Let the person in the office do it.
Yes.
Let's focus on what you do best, and let's do only money-making activities. Our agents only do money-making activities.
Okay, that's actually a big thing. That's a big thing because a lot of that stuff gets in the way.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of that stuff gets in the way. I mean, I don't know how many hours agents spend just scheduling appointments alone.
Probably between, it depends on how many appointments they get,
Yes.
right? Probably between 0 and 8 or 10 hours a week. You know, I don't know.
It's a lot. It's a lot.
It's a lot.
It's
It's a
definitely
lot.
a lot.
Because there's a lot of the in-between. You're emailing an agent, they don't get back to you, or calling them, they don't answer, you text them, they're calling the broker, what the hell?
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it sucks. Like, so why are you doing that?
So you just have one person you hired in-house.
She's the best,
To do
absolutely,
all
Casey.
Okay, and
Shout
it's
out
not
to
virtual,
Casey.
it's someone that's actually in the office that sits there. Or did you go virtual? Because a lot of people go virtual.
Casey she is with us, bro. She's, well, I mean, she's virtual, but she's
No,
with
that's
us.
great.
She's a part of our team. She's absolutely amazing. She like works directly for us.
Oh, that's
We don't outsource her. She
Yeah.
works directly for us.
No, that's the best thing in the world. But having that's an asset to agents because
Huge asset.
I know how frustrating it is.
We
to
pay
try
her
to set up
super well.
appointments. Yeah,
Everyone's paid super well.
that's huge.
Yep.
Yeah, that is huge. So that's a good point. So how do you retain agents? What's your biggest retention strategy? I mean, I know just giving them good systems and things like that work, but like, you know how many agents or teams or brokerages are out there recruiting every single day, and some of the brokers, that's all they do. They just recruit. They're not in production anymore. They just call agents. So how are you keeping those agents from going to other places?
I don't try to keep them to go to other places, and I tell them flat out, look, just be straight up with me. If you get another opportunity, there's a reason why you're looking for that. And if you're not happy here, or if you feel like there's something better out there, that's okay. So that's it. That's how I am, you know.
That makes sense.
And
Makes sense.
you know, it's one of those things, Chris, where I don't ever want to hold anyone's feet over the fire. Like, you know, if you're not happy, then that's going to spread, and we don't want it.
Sure.
So that's totally fine. And some people decide that they want to go different paths, and we've had that. And actually, you know, TJ Chofi, he decided, you know, he's a good friend of mine. I love TJ. He was on our
Yes.
team. I would welcome him back with open arms. TJ, if you're watching this, I love you, buddy. You're a great guy.
That's
Like,
awesome.
TJ's the man, right?
Yeah.
Jamie Rebello, he's also an awesome guy. He was on our team, but they both decided that they wanted to go separate paths, and they're highly successful. And they are
Yes.
solo agents, and they are thriving, okay? So it's not for everybody. So knowing that, I'm cool with that. I'm okay with that, man. If the agents on our team love and value our team to the point where, what else are they looking for? So when you give more than you expect to get, right? And when you constantly put your focus on them before yourself and just do whatever you can to help them, they would have no reason to leave.
Creating value. It's all about creating value.
You've just summed up my complex thing in creating value. Yes.
Creating value. That's the biggest thing. All right. That's huge. That is huge. So one thing I wanted to really get into, I know you touched on it lately before, is the showing agent piece.
Yeah.
So I know you mentioned you have showing agents for your listings.
Mm-hmm.
How do you actually go about doing that on the buy side? Because I know at some point in time, a lot of the top producing agents, they don't actually physically go to every single buyer appointment themselves anymore, because it just takes up a ton of time.
Yeah.
I mean, if you have 6, 7 to 10 buyers at a time, you're running them all over the place, that takes up 70% to 80% of your day.
Mm-hmm.
So are you using showing agents on the buy side, or are you just completely delegating the buy side and saying, here you go, here's a buyer, go work with them?
Mm-hmm.
Or are you still actively involved in giving out some buyers and keeping some buyers yourself, and just using showing agents to actually take them out and show them the houses, and you step in once it's time to negotiate?
Mm-hmm. So, man, I'm involved in every transaction in the company in one way or another, right?
Yes.
So when I take a buyer on, when I get a referral, or maybe a team lead comes in, they want to talk with me, right? Our process is simply this: we get on a Zoom call or an in-person meeting, myself and that agent, and we educate the buyer about the entire process of purchasing a home or purchasing investment property or selling and buying. We go through the whole soup to nuts, and then we talk about how it's much more important to make sure that you always have coverage than to have one agent that's too damn busy and slap you in a lockbox,
Yes.
And first off, I wouldn't want to work with an agent that is not busy or productive, because when you're working with an agent that's not busy or productive, I mean, yes, well, they have we've got more time to give you, that's what new agents say.
Yep.
You got a lot less experience, and you have a lot less pool of buyers that they're working with and knowledge, right, of transactions. And we all know how complex a real estate transaction can be, and there's a ton of holes and a ton of bad things that could happen,
Yes.
and a ton of money that can be lost, right? So you want to work with a top producing agent. So in order to work with a top producing agent, most top producing agents now have teams or assistants or somebody to work. So with me, I have equals. So you're working with me, perfect. Well, guess what? Jackie is going to go in and show your home way better than I can. It's what she is, the Vanna White of real estate, right?
Yes.
She is. Joe, I don't know what the male equivalent to Vanna White would be, but that's Joe, right? Like
Yeah.
Mike, Kara, Pam, right? They're all fantastic, and they're much better at showing houses than I am. You know where I'm good? I'm good at bringing the business in, getting a marketing plan together, overseeing the company, negotiating. I'll do all that stuff.
Yes.
Okay, so yeah, that we just go through it and explain it all to the consumer and to our clients, and they absolutely understand it and they value it. And guess what? If for some reason Joe or Jackie or whoever that servicing agent for that property can't get in, then I will show the house. There's always going to be coverage.
Yes.
And if I'm on vacation and that person's out sick or whatever it is, guess what? We have a contingency plan, and there's consistent showing things. It's like going to Louis Vuitton, bro. They're gonna take out that Louis Vuitton. They wear these little white gloves and stuff, and they do it in a certain way, right? So
Yes.
everything is systematic, and you're always gonna have that same fresh cut steak, that same Louis Vuitton purse, no matter who on the team is covering it.
I love it. That makes a ton of sense. That
Thank
makes
you.
a ton of sense. So the last piece I want to get into
Mhm.
with you is a lot of agents are kind of focusing on lead generation versus sphere of influence. What percentage of your business comes from sphere of influence? And I know it's probably grown big time since when you first started. Maybe
Yeah.
when you first started it was more prospecting, then it switched more to sphere of influence. But what's your balance? Like, what are you seeing?
It's 70-30, so I would say about 70 is from network and sphere and past clients.
Okay, wow.
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 And then 30% of it is from, leads. A lot, I would say in that 70 is SEO as well, so search engine optimization.
Yes.
But that's like direct business, and so that's as good as a referral.
Yeah.
When people are going online looking and saying, wow, Chris, you got all these videos. I see you, doing this and this and this. You're very well engaged with the community, with real estate. We know you know your stuff, right? So people are going to go to you because of that. So, and I appreciate that about you and other agents that like to educate and whatnot. That's what it's about, right?
Exactly.
So the 70-30, man.
Wow. That's huge. That is huge.
We don't pay Zillow at all.
You don't pay no Zillow leads.
Zillow's gone, Realtor's gone, Trulia, nope. We don't do those.
None of that. So it's
None of
mostly
it.
organic, attraction-based marketing based off reviews, past client experiences, people that like what you do.
Do I think that Zillow is definitely a power player? I do. And do I think that, you know, in the future maybe we will work with Zillow instant offers as they come to Rhode Island stuff? Yes, we would. And they're looking for teams to work with. We would. And I respect those companies. But as of right now, I just, you know, we put all of our time and effort into our website and other types of sources.
That makes sense. Okay.
Mhm.
And what do you think about the ISA model?
Well, I like the ISA model to a point, but we have the ISA model doing things like scheduling, answering, you know, quick questions and
Okay.
stuff like that. You know, we don't have the ISA model banging out the phone cold calling people, because a lot of times there's different, how can I put this? A lot of times if that person is not in the market and they don't know the intricacies of the market, even buyers that don't know much about the market are going to pick up on that.
Yeah.
So if you're going to do a call center, have someone local be that person in charge of your call center. Spend some money on that person, incentivize them, give them, you know what I mean? We're actually looking at potentially building that out. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
We don't
Okay.
have that right now.
Not yet.
All of the agents are currently covering all of the incoming calls.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
And then do you have them doing any prospecting, or is it more just inbound calls that they're handling?
Yeah, I mean, you know, they definitely do their own prospecting. I'm not a micromanager. They tell me what goals they want to meet, and there's a certain minimum you have to be on the Dispirito team. And if they're not meeting their goals, we talk about it. We look at, they don't just get like, you know, canned. Let's look at it. What are you doing? Okay, well, look, I notice your numbers are low here, here, and here. We should focus on this, this, and this, and this. And ultimately, if they want to do the minimum and they're doing the minimum, if they're happy with that, it's okay. All right.
Okay.
Like, not everyone's gonna want to be like you or me and maximize it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They might be happy with doing 24 transactions a year. I'm not.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not happy with doing 50 transactions a year. Like, I want to hit 200 a year, right? Like myself,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
And I will, but you can't expect everybody to want it like you do, right?
Exactly.
And that goes to all team leaders.
That makes sense. Okay. So when you say the minimum standard, just to dig a little deeper, are you saying a minimum standard for transactions? You don't really care where they get them, or are you saying like a minimum standard for how many calls they make per week? Or
No,
what's your
just
thoughts on that?
transactions in
Okay.
total. We previously were at 12, okay, but we're gonna raise the bar a bit and hit 24 next year.
Okay, that's huge.
Mhm.
24 per agent that's on the team.
Yeah, yeah.
That's excellent. I mean, the average team, the average person on the team does what? I don't know if you know those stats.
Yeah, 33. We did, the average person I think did 33 last year.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
That
I
is
believe so.
amazing.
I gotta double check that.
That is huge, because the average agent, just in general, does 4 to 6, right?
Mhm, yeah.
So
something like that.
that's a big deal. That's a huge deal. So last thing, going forward, what's your goals in real estate? Like, what do you want to do from here on out? You're 27. Well, you're not 27.
37,
You're
35,
35. You still got a lot of years
Yeah,
to go. So, what are you thinking? What's next?
Wow, man. I mean, there's a lot more room to grow. I definitely want to get more involved in real estate investing.
Yes.
Wholesaling, flipping,
That's
owning
awesome.
properties,
Yes.
you know, all of that. But as far as the team goes, I just want to build something, you know, better than it's ever been built before. And I know it sounds like maybe a little cliche, but I want to build that team that constantly is setting the stage, and I believe we have that. I do believe that we have that in certain aspects, right? But now I'm ready for that next big adventure, the next big place to take the team.
That's awesome.
Our business is evolving, bro, so we're looking to evolve, maybe even offer some iBuyer type of services and whatnot.
Nice.
But I also want to make it as simple as possible, not only for the consumer, but for realtors, okay? So when a realtor comes on our team, you know, it's just going to be literally like, you know, just they're just going to get their playbook. And you wrote a book, The Playbook.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Love
Yeah,
it,
yeah.
love it, love it. That's what's up, bro.
That's it.
And they're literally just going to get their playbook, and everything is right on their phone. Anything that they need to take them through the transaction,
Nice.
and all the resources, everything. And legit, I want to be as agent and consumer focused as possible, dude.
I loved it.
And I would just want to get to that next level, and I do want to expand and have teams all over the place, you know. And I don't necessarily want to run each team. I want to give a licensing fee. Like, here's our team.
That's
Okay.
awesome.
Here's a whole package. We've got the vendors for you. Here's the software. Here's the systems. here's the marketing, boom, here you go.
Awesome. So that is great. That's an awesome thing. So thanks for coming on today.
Thanks, man.
I really appreciate it. So if you guys have any questions, definitely visit Emilio's website or send him an email if you have questions about becoming an agent. Great resource to have, and thanks for coming on.
You're welcome, man.
Of course.
Thanks for having me on, Chris. I
Thank
appreciate
you.
it. Nice job.
Thanks for tuning in.